We got our diagnosis that our little son John Paul had anencephaly at our 22-week scan. So I had 5 other kids, 4 girls and a boy, and the boy was really rooting for a brother. We decided this time we'd find out whether it was a girl or a boy, because we'd never done that before. We went into the scanning room within 20 seconds, I would say. The midwife who was scanning me, she just stopped and said, "Oh, the news is not good, I'm so sorry." She said, "This baby can't survive." The master of the scanning department explained it to us that our baby had anencephaly, and that for now, you know, he was doing well and he was alive, but that they had no idea how long. Certainly once he was born, he would die very shortly after, if not before. So we didn't go straight home. We went off for a coffee and sat there in shock. It was then that my husband, who's called John Paul, said, "I think we should name him John Paul." I said, "Yeah, absolutely." From that moment, he was John Paul. We had to go home and break the news. Of course they were upset. They're upset one minute and the next minute they want an ice cream. So they flipped between sorrow and, you know, normality, which was actually quite good for us as we processed. Because for me, it was like a gong booming in my world. I was still reeling from the blow. I realised, okay, we have this child for a length of time. We don't know. It could be tomorrow or it could be in 3 months' time. We don't know. Every day I wake up that he's there, that we have him, is a gift. Now, obviously I knew there was pain ahead. And to an extent, I think when you know, you have to deal with something, you do put your pain on hold. I wanted it to be about him. I wanted the rest of his life to be about him. And so, each day, that we had him, I'd wake up in the morning and, just say hello. And last thing before I go to sleep at night, I'd say goodnight to him and tell him I loved him. I told him I loved him every day. And similar with the family, the rest of the family, every evening we'd have a family hug where we'd all gather around, the kids and my husband and myself, and, God bless. And we go down through them all, including John Paul. And so that was a time of celebration. That was a time where we just held on to him and appreciated him, because it means that, as well as the pain that's going to happen afterwards, no matter what happens, we're going to have pain because there's going to be loss. But as well as that, we had precious moments of memories. He was born and lived for 17 minutes. We got to baptise him, which was something that was really important to us. My husband baptised him. In hindsight, I realise now, I should have expected this, but it was when my husband cut the cord that I watched the little life drain out of his face. My love didn't fade in any way. I just realised it was so peaceful. It was so peaceful. It was like he just slipped away in peace. After a while, looking back and realising that you had a little thought one day that gave you hope, or you had a little moment where you remembered something precious about his life, and that really does help. Grief is so much a part of life, just as much as joy and celebrating are part of life, so is grief. And I learned more and more about this along the way. And each of these things that came to me was like a little seed dropping into my heart. And as I looked back over time, I realised these seeds had grown up and were like a little garden. A garden I wouldn't swap for the world, because they're like the garden inside me of my little memoir to my son. And it's part of who I've become because of him. He had an impact on me, he changed me. I really treasure that now. It's worth the pain, and it was painful. Because of this little imperfect son who I loved so much and really yearned to be with so much, I had a picture in my mind that imperfection is beautiful. And so I used to be a very perfectionist person, would demand a lot from myself, rush through life, achieving things, a pace of life that I think was a little bit too fast. I think what John Paul has done for our family and for me has helped slow me down, to live the moments each day. He's taught me to be patient with myself, to be patient with my own imperfections. He's taught me to be more patient with my other children and the imperfections in them. And actually, you know, he's taught me that imperfection in human beings is something beautiful and to be valued. And I wouldn't swap that for the world. That has changed the way I mother. When a mother finds themselves in this situation with a diagnosis of your baby is going to die, it has a condition where it's going to die, what society wants to do is rally around and take that pain away as best they can. You know, we'd all love to take that pain away. But what I would love to do is encourage a mother who finds themselves in this scenario to stop and think the future, one way or the other, the future holds me alive and my baby will die. I have no choice in that. What I have a choice about is what I do, what role I play in the life of my baby while I have him, and what role I will play in the death of my baby. And I will be left behind, one way or the other, with the pain of what I've just been through, one way or the other. The choice is, will I be left behind with pain and some beautiful memories and the ability to heal, or will I be left behind without those beautiful memories? And so what I would love to say to a woman who finds herself in this situation is, it is doable. It is awful, but it's precious to be able to hold on to your child at this time.